My fellow Sierra Leoneans, my name is Dr. Prince Heisey Bull, a Creole residing in North Carolina, USA. The events of the last 2 weeks in Freetown prompted this message to the Creole nation and to those residing in the Western area. First, let me express my heartfelt sympathy to the families and friends of those who lost their lives in the mudslide on Monday, August 14, 2017. The mudslide claimed over 500 lives, including the lives of over 150 children. May their souls rest in perfect peace. To the families and friends of those who died, may God continue to give you strength, peace, and grace to deal with your loss and with this difficult situation. For the last 2 weeks, flooding continues to further destroy the lives of those who live in Freetown. How much more can the people of Freetown take? How much more? From the rebel war to the Ebola crisis, and now to mudslide and flooding, how much more? How much more? If you barely have nothing and end up losing everything, what is the worth of your life? I repeat, what is the worth of your life? This is the dilemma faced by the poor residents of Freetown. Life continues to be meaningless to many of the residents of Freetown. For too long, we have accepted this as a way of life after every disaster. We say, God did, and na God in work. But folks, the time has come to hold people accountable for corruption and for lack of governmental oversights to guide and protect us all in Freetown. Somebody, someone, and some high offices should be held liable for what has happened to our fellow Sierra Leoneans. This is unacceptable for a country so richly blessed with natural resources. My question is, why is it always Freetown? Why Freetown? I stress Freetown because the damage, the destruction, and degradation of life in Sierra Leone we see on videos and pictures are all about Freetown. When you hear and see heartbreaking videos and pictures about mudslides, flooding, poor health conditions, poor sanitation and filth, poor living conditions, no electricity, run-down schools, no water, deforestation, and the ultimate deaths of my fellow Sierra Leoneans? Folks, we are not talking about Bo, Bombalé, Potloko, or Pujaun, Kono, Moyamba, or Cambia, Kenema, Kanlaon, and Tonkolili. Folks, it is all about Freetown, and we are all being brainwashed to think it is about Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is not bad. Sierra Leone is not terrible. Sierra Leone is not deplorable. If you want the proof, go to McKinney and experience the beauty of Sierra Leone. Freetown is what is bad. Freetown is what is terrible. Freetown is what is deplorable. Now, let me address the mudslide and flooding in Freetown. But before I start, let me address the critics who would be quick to say, "In America they talk and in no they do nothing." Well, for over 10 years, I have been involved in many educational projects in Freetown, helping children and those with special needs. And immediately after the mudslide, I set up a GoFundMe to sponsor education in Regent Village, and I have worked with my church in America and many other organizations in the US to send donations to Freetown. I state this to say that I am, in my own way, trying to affect change and to improve the lives of Sierra Leoneans in Freetown. Folks, the loss of lives and destruction of properties should not just go in vain. Our government has to account to the people of Freetown on who sold the lands on Sugarloaf Mountain. Our government has to account to the people of Freetown on who gave the building permits to build on Sugarloaf Mountain. Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why are they left to die by mudslides and flooding? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why do they put them in such deplorable conditions? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is Freetown being ignored? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is it that 150 plus children died and no one, is held accountable? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is it we have a Department of Surveys and Lands, and yet people are allowed to build houses in places that leads to their deaths? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is it we have building inspectors, and yet they allow people to build houses that crumble? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why do we have a Public Works Department, the PWD, and yet streets, gutters, and houses are flooded? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is it that the leadership at all levels continue to fail the people of Freetown? Our government has to account to the people of Freetown. Why is Freetown being destroyed and no one cares? Folks, people of Freetown, in as much as you would say God did, someone in the government is liable for those who died in the mudslide. Some ministers, some department heads, and some leaders are liable for the flooding, destroying the meager resources and the lives of those who live in Freetown. Someone is liable. Folks, the time has come for us all to move from "Na Papa God in work" and God did. 2. Who is responsible for destroying Freetown? Who is responsible for destroying the lives of those who live in Freetown? There are many ways to address your grievances. First, pray to God. Take your questions to God. Take your wish to God and pray, and God will grant you peace and serenity and would guide Freetown. But as we approach the 2018 elections, I want you all in Freetown to voice out your grievances to every aspiring member of parliament, every presidential candidate, all political parties, and ask them to sign individually with every voter what you would call to them a contract with Freetown. So what is this contract with Freetown? The contract with Freetown should address plans to prevent further mudslides. The contract with Freetown should address plans to prevent flooding. The contract with Freetown should provide improved sanitation and health for all. The contract with Freetown should provide first-class education for all children. And the contract with Freetown should provide overall health and happiness for all those living in Freetown. People of Freetown, this is what the government owes you. This is your basic rights, and it is not a privilege. The government, with all the resources, should be able to provide your basic necessities to live a happy life. The right to safety, the right to a first-class education for your children, the right to have PWD clean your gutters and build a drainage system, the right for the forestry department to prevent deforestation in Freetown, the right to protect people from building on mountaintops, the right to clean water, the right to education, the right to free speech, and the right to overall happiness. People of Freetown, death, destruction, and pain should not be the path for Sierra Leoneans, but life, happiness, and prosperity should be the goal of every Sierra Leonean and the government. Peace to you all. God bless you, and God bless Sierra Leone.